So the Green Kitchen Deli, offering fresh, nutritious food to go. Choose from a full menu of delicious sandwiches and salad boxes, or build your own option. All made on site and prepared fresh to order. Jumpstart your healthy lifestyle at Green Kitchen in the award-winning Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
It's flu season, and children are twice as likely as adults to catch the flu, which can sometimes cause serious illness. That's why all children aged 2 to 17 can get their free nasal spray flu vaccine. A safe and effective way to protect them, and the rest of your family too. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist. Visit hsc.ie/flu for more information. From the HSC.
Okay, you are very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're joined on the programme now by Marina Porter, manager of the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Marina. I appreciate it greatly.
Thank you, Sean.
It's Greg here. I don't mind. It's just so that you. It's just so that you know and
yes,
who you're talking to. That's fine.
I'm having one of those mornings.
Don't worry about it. I'm not precious in that regard at all. Before we talk about the letter received, just your reaction to this awful news that emerged from Offaly. A beautiful young woman, a teacher, out for a walk in broad daylight, viciously attacked and murdered. It's just absolutely unbelievable, this news, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I think the country as a whole are shocked, never mind that poor community and our family and our students. I really don't know what to say. There are no words, really, Greg,
Yeah, but it sort of talks to, you might remember, the conversation that's ongoing but was in great focus, about the amount of women that have been the subject. Now, we don't know the motivation for this attack. The Gardaí still are investigating it, but it does remind us of that conversation, as I said, that's ongoing but came into particular focus a couple of months ago, about how women don't feel safe out and about. A lot of them don't, and this is... And that was at night, I think that conversation was happening, and this is something that happens in broad daylight.
And that's just, we were talking about it in the office here this morning. She went out during the day. We presume we're safer if we go out in daytime, and sadly that's not the case as we see here. It's just it's endemic, really, the violence that's taken place against women, and it's a real societal problem, Greg. It seems that, people are just their free game if somebody wants to do something, or, I think it seems that females, women, it's almost as if they're not being seen as human beings. They're objects that can be abused or murdered in this way. I don't know. It's just deeply, deeply shocking.
Yeah, and the reason we have to talk about it in the broader context is because that, say, for instance, that first instance of domestic violence, if that is not addressed immediately, we've seen how tragically that can turn out once it escalates. If someone is inclined to be abusive towards women or to have been abusive of them, arguably the incident that happened in Offaly, that's how it ends up. So, we can't take these awful instances in isolation. We have to have the broader conversation again, I think, Marina.
Absolutely it is. And, sadly, we have a huge crossover of clients here between ourselves and domestic violence services. And, families are living in absolute terror of, ex-partners or whatever. And it's truly horrific. And we're very fortunate here in Letterkenny that we have the DPSU, and they can deal with people with, great kindness and empathy, but it's like the system moves slow. The court system and all just moves slow for people.
It just has to also be victim-driven all the time, because we saw recently, the changes to the stalking laws, but that took people who were the victims of it having to bare their souls across the media to TDs to get some change, and that change was a long time coming. Yeah.
And
Okay.
unfortunately, that's the case. Yeah.
We also want to speak to you about an appeal. Did the appeal begin on the Donegal Rape Crisis Centre Facebook page? Can you tell us how this story started?
I didn't actually even, Greg, put it on the Rape Crisis Centre. It's a private Facebook page where, if say you have something you don't need, you can post it. If somebody wants it, they can have it.
Understood,
or if you're looking for something. So I posted it there, and then the uptake was just unbelievable. I just posted it on Friday.
And what did you post?
I just posted that a family, a mum and her 2 children, basically they lost everything in their previous home due to black mold. And I was just talking to the lady during the week last week, and she told me this, and I was like, everything, and then she was showing me photos. And like their pillows and all their bedding and everything was mouldy. They had to dump everything. So they got a new apartment, but they had nothing, and she had no money, and she
had to start from scratch and no resources to do so.
Yeah. And then she felt really awful that she couldn't buy her kids the Christmas presents and stuff that she wanted to and all. And I was like, well, I can reach out and see if I can get you a few bits or something, And we talked about, the food bank and the Vincent de Paul and, all the wonderful resources that are out there. So I put out the appeal, and anybody commented on this post, I just messaged them privately then. And, I'm still getting messages even last night. I've been on Messenger all weekend. The public have just been amazing.
We are brilliant when we're motivated, aren't we? We really are.
Fantastic. And the family were just, so amazed and so thankful. And I was like, but this is what you deserve. Everybody deserves this. Yeah. We deserve to have a roof over our head, and that our kids have clothes and food in the cupboard and just the basics in life. And so then her wonderful son wrote me a letter, and she sent me a picture of it. So then I shared it then on our page then, just to thank people.
Yeah, to let them know the impact they'd had on this family.
Absolutely, because it was truly amazing, Greg, And
what amazing young fella too, in that him recognising the efforts of his mum and her sacrifices too. Wasn't that beautiful?
It was so beautiful, because like the conversation I had with her was that, I feel like I'm letting my children down because of my circumstances. And I was like, but if they know you love them, that's the most important thing you can give anybody. But he got it all. And for a young man, I honestly, it was just very humbling to read it. And I just wanted to share that with everybody who has helped and who are still coming forward with offers of help, just to let them know the impact that their kind gestures have had.
And in your way, no matter how good you are with words, Mariana, I beg your pardon, you could not have expressed the gratitude in the same way that this young man did.
No, absolutely not. No, because it was directly from his heart and, on behalf of the whole family. Now, Mum has written me a letter since, so I have that here, and it would just have you in floods of tears, to be quite honest.
And how are they getting on?
They're getting on okay. We're getting stuff for them. People have been, given furniture, home furnishings. People have bought like new duvets, new pillows, throws for the beds. People have given clothes. So I have more stuff to collect today. We got a new bed for the boy. So people have been magnificent, lamps, towels, all those basic things. So I think it has really given them a good positive start to the new year now.
Good. And it knows that they know, and I hope they feel, that the arms of the community are wrapped around them, that they're not on your own. Because you can feel very isolated, can't you?
Very isolated. And I suppose a big part of our work here at the centre is working with people to build their self-esteem and to realise that you deserve so much better. You are worth so much more. And if that support isn't coming from, like, say, immediate family, friends, circle, the community. So I think this just shows what a wonderful community we do have here in Donegal, that people are willing to step up and support people that they don't know.
Okay.
Because I think, Greg, like, if you hear me talking, it's usually about all the bad things and the negative things that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt it was really important to share something really wonderful to start the year off.
Yeah, and there is so much of that. There is so much of that goodness that doesn't get spotlighted, or we don't necessarily know what's going on. But there's an awful lot of it happening all the time. As you say, often the focus can be on the negative, because there's an awful lot there that has to be dealt with too, and we're trying to fix that when we talk about it. But this is lovely, and if they're listening, I hope they're happier and they recognise their importance in their important place in the community. Fair play to you for recognising that, this is something that could be addressed, and getting it out there and getting that great response. And what a beautiful thing to get those 2 letters. You can keep them with you now. And
yeah, they're priceless.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
And I'd like to thank everyone who has helped. We're all truly, truly grateful.
All right, take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, we'll be back with more after the break.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Stockists of a wide range of used passenger and commercial vehicles.
You have one new message. Hi Claire, Auntie Dee here. I just wanted to say a big thank you for skipping my party. We had a great night and everyone was so happy you didn't come. Now you take care. I hope to see you soon. Bye.
No one will thank you for turning up to work or anything else when you're sick. Stay at home and get a test to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. From the HSE, for us all.
Inish Fitness Dunlow are now offering class-only memberships. Register in person with reception to get access to the convenient Inish Fitness app for booking and paying for classes.
This week's Irish Farmers Journal could save you thousands in cash. For more, here's Paul Mooney.
Don't miss our 50 tax-saving tips for farmers inside this week's issue, including how much can family members earn in your farm tax-free, what reliefs are available when transferring farms, and how to make the most of tax exemptions. Plus, we have money-saving advice for household bills, banking, insurance, pensions and more to make the most of your income.
Don't miss our money-saving tips inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Last chance to enter. Homeland and Nutritious Animal Feed, in association with Tama Ireland, are hosting the Donegal Silage competition, and entries are closing soon. Entry is free and includes 5 categories: dairy, beef, sheep, round bale and new entrant. First prize, €300 voucher. Second prize, €200 voucher in each category. For full entry details, visit homeland.ie. Closing date, the 21st of January.
Cooney's Furniture at Letterkenny Retail Park January sale is now on. You'll find everything for your home has been reduced, with massive savings on suites, tables, beds and accessories. But hurry, only while stocks last. Call in today and treat your home with a visit to Cooney's Furniture.
Smith's Daleside offer a range of coarse and pelleted feed, including premium munchie ranges for lambs, designed to entice the lamb senses, increasing intakes and maximising performance. Call Smith's Daleside on 074 9171 300.
Highland Radio Time Checks, brought to you by Letterkenny Shopping Centre, the centre of shopping in Donegal. Free parking and shopping all under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
The time is 10:31. More guests and more of your comments coming up after we take a break for a piece of music. Here is George Michael. Okay, that was George Michael there. And Faith, now more of your comments here. People should know about the RSV virus. It's common cold to many, but it's serious to some. My daughter had premature twins, and before leaving the hospital, it was one of the viruses she was told could be fatal. Yes, indeed, and I'm not diminishing that for a moment. But I think the risks with flu and COVID are greater. Thank you, though, for that. Hi, my daughter did not see it. The junior cert is due to her leaving. This year. Children that last sat them wouldn't have done transition year. Indeed. Yesterday, we were talking about what to do with good condition old toys, but the boxes are a bit tatty. A caller says, bring the toys to where car boot sales are going on and give the toys to them stalls, but I think they want them to go directly to someone who needs them. My daughter did transition year, did junior cert in 2019. Now in leaving cert this year, those students who didn't do transition year didn't do junior cert in 2020. I bought a new car in August and nearly €12,000 went to the government through tax and VAT. No wonder the price of cars is high. And then they, of course, take a big take on petrol and diesel as well. Big differences. On my way to work, generally speaking, petrol is... you can make a saving. I'm talking like yesterday. I was talking about making savings, and this is just by coincidence. 14 cent of a difference in from one petrol station to the other. Now, not in the same area necessarily, but in two relatively close areas. 14 cent of a difference per litre of petrol. Isn't that really quite remarkable? And in one particular garage, the petrol is cheaper than the diesel in this other garage that I'm talking of. Yet often they have about a 10 cent between them. Unbelievable. 14 cent a litre. In one particular garage versus some others is really quite remarkable. Again, that's the kind of, you can save money if you shop around, if it's practical to do so. There's no point if it's far away driving and burning your saving either. Credit union, Greg, gives allowances of 2 to discount where possible, plus free breakdown cover. Keep asking, keep shopping around. That's as it relates to insurance. My initial shopping around has saved €350, and I'm hoping to save even more. The public already know the result of Gulfgate, nothing. So let's really be honest, Greg. Well, we'll see what comes out from the trial, which gets back underway in February. A caller says, I am so upset about the murder in Tullamore. I have a daughter the same age. I don't know what to say. I'm just broken-hearted for the family indeed. And I looked at the pictures and I saw my niece's faces in that picture. It's just absolutely heart-wrenching. Right, any word on the basic payment for artists? Lowest paid people in the country was supposed to be in by now. Guess I will struggle on. This government don't really care about us lot. Probably time to emigrate. So anyone with any information on that, please get in contact. Right, that man is on talking, Micheál Colm. What is morally right about big wages politicians are getting? Could that not be cut and put more money into the Micah fund or other fund? There's lots of stuff out there indeed. Good morning. Could get the name of the designer that was on Greg's show yesterday, please? Yes, it's Claire McDonough from La Maison. Hi, Greg. Just listening to Tony Houlihan last night. That guy just makes it up every evening. They haven't a clue. Get the country opened up. Where did all the bad flu go to everyone? COVID. Thanks. The flu's still out there. The figures are available. Obviously, if people are wearing masks and not socialising as much and not in as close contact, the flu's not going to spread. You know, I mean, that's basic kind of stuff. You're not going to get your gastroenteritis and your stomach problems because people aren't in as close contact as they were. It'll be back. If you miss flu, it'll be back. Don't worry about that. I work in retail. Rota is usually done out 3 weeks in advance. Manager always comes at the last minute looking to... Actually, you know what? I'll hold that one off for Richard, who'll be able to answer that. Greg, do you not think that the awful attack yesterday could just as easily have been a man? And I hate the usual that person comes from a highly respected family. Would it be less sad if the family were not highly respected? That young girl is the same age as my granddaughter, and I just cannot stop crying. I agree with you as it relates to framing victims of violence as known to the Gardaí, not to go known to the Gardaí, highly respected. It's not something I would do. I don't understand. Everybody's life is equal. And I don't understand why that forms part of the reporting. So I take your point as it relates to that. The instances of I can't recall when you know, and there's another one actually that's coming in along those lines. I don't recall. Here it is. Violence is not gender. Most victims of violence are men. Most suicides are men. Most parental alienations against men. Most domestic abuse, 2/3 is against women. Yes, it's a societal non-gender problem. Plus, not one shelter for men to escape with their children or 24/7, 365-day helpline. Balance, please. Now, a woman's just been murdered, right? And domestic violence mostly affects women. And now I understand this probably comes from a man who feels that, you know, maybe the courts are against him or the guards are against him or whatever. But how to seek balance in this tragic situation? I don't remember the last time a fellow was out jogging and was just randomly murdered. Yes, of course, most of the violence is man on man, but I don't understand why people don't want us to talk about this as being a particular problem that needs addressed without having to say, oh yeah, but what about this or that? I don't understand that argument. The only thing I can think about at the moment is what do we do to stop women, for the most part it's women, being abused and murdered in the home or randomly attacked and murdered in the streets. We can talk about the other things as well, of course, but I don't see why one sort of has to be brought down and the other elevated or vice versa. This is an awful situation that needs to be addressed, and the statistics are out there to suggest that this is a societal problem that needs to be looked at. Greg, do you not think that... sorry, I've just read that one. Hi, Greg. Yesterday's announcement that second-hand car prices have risen by 53% is another attack on middle-income Ireland. Again, government policy, i.e. The no tax pushing up prices. I'm sick of it. This joins the long list of price hikes such as alcohol, electricity, coal, heating, oil, gas, petrol and diesel that our government and their experts tell us is for their own good. Where are these attacks on women going to end? I have a young girl who is a teacher and living away, and I was worried sick about her yesterday. It makes me livid that those responsible get a prison sentence and then can be out again. A tax needs to be applied to homes that are lying idle in order to free up property. There is a multitude of derelict properties and it will not change unless something is done about it. Right, but okay, they talk about that all the time, but I never see any progress in relation to that. My son took COVID on November 10th. They sent out a text for him to get a vaccine today. Is it too early? November 10th, December 10th, January. It's 2 months. I think it's supposed to be 3. Double check that with your, I was going to say GP. You might have struggled to get in contact with them. I'll try and check that out for you as well. I couldn't sleep last night thinking on that poor girl and her family. Sadly, it's happening too often. Life sentences should mean life. Greg, my wee woman is 10. No way will I let her take the vaccines because it's not tested long enough. And as of yesterday, 4 children in her class were off with COVID, but still go to school and take a self-test. That's up to you. You are perfectly entitled to make that decision and feel comfortable in you making that decision. I don't know if you know how long all the vaccines that she's taken up to the 10. Do you know all of the vaccines, what was in them, and all the potential side effects? Every vaccine has a side effect. We kind of go in blindly, and then all of a sudden we're on this one going, all right, this one I need more information on. But listen, that's your choice. I think a lot of people would have a great deal of thinking to do about vaccinating a 8, 9, 10-year-old because you probably feel like, well, she'll be okay, and that's up to you. Right, okay. A caller says, I agree with Micheál Colm. Wouldn't it be amazing to open up a house like Rock Hill House and create employment? Okay. Another caller says, I don't get a bill for electricity. You don't get a bill, but you get billed for it. Okay, so you pay for your electricity, so you're billed whether or not you get a bill or not, but the €100 is supposed to come off that bill. And maybe you can access the bills online. Do you do pay as you go, perhaps? Is that what you're talking about? Maybe you pay your electricity in advance.
The 9 till noon show with Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, where you can care for your Toyota with a 2-year service pack from €299.
Enish Fitness Dunlow offer yoga, Pilates, circuits and women's only weight training class. To find out about their classes only membership, call in to Enish Fitness today.
At Creasle Supermarket, we offer daily specials at our deli with fresh and delicious food to go. Avail of our butcher's weekly specials or choose from a range of healthy options and pre-packed meals, plus many more offers in store. We're open 7 days for your convenience. Creasle Supermarket, where quality and value is assured.
Don't be without your favourite brand toiletries, cosmetics and fragrances with McGee's Chemist, where you can click and collect or have them delivered to your door. Email your list, no matter how big or small, to cosmetics@mcgee's.ie or send a text to the dedicated order line. See mcgee's.ie or Facebook for more details. Don't be without your everyday essentials with McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, and mcgee's.ie, where the best costs less.
Hi, Raymond Sweeney here. If your vacuum cleaner has seen better days, call into us at Ben Sweeney Euronics for a look at the new Samsung Turbo Cordless Stickvac. This lightweight, easy to control vacuum cleaner picks up fine dust on carpets and on hard floors. With a 40-minute battery life and a massive 150 watts of suction power, it is now available for €299. Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Ben Sweeney Euronics. We deliver, we install, we care.
It's that time of year again. Long evenings, low temperatures and slippery roads. So for your free tyre check, call Donegal Tyres. They have all you need in stock. Winter or all-season tyres, or especially for wet Irish conditions, the latest generation Uniroyal, the rain tyre. Experience the difference. Call Donegal Tyres, Donegal Town. Phone 97 21482 or see donegaltyres.com.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. We welcome onto it now Fiona Boyle, who is a stop smoking specialist and the CHO1 tobacco lead. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. How are you keeping today?
Not too bad, Greg, yourself?
Very good. I'm very good indeed. Right, okay, you know, there's never a bad time to give up smoking, but maybe a lot of people, particularly maybe with the increase in the last budget, might have said, right, 2022, it's going to be the year that I stop smoking. Do you see an uptick in contacts at this time of year, Fiona?
Yes, I suppose traditionally there's a number of times. So the likes of New Year, Ash Wednesday, November are often traditional times when people might actually make a quit attempt. But to be honest, Greg, it's throughout the year because different people are experiencing different things at different times. So there's different opportunities to stop smoking. So people will often go with them, whether it's a change in life, whether it's a new partner, a pregnancy, an illness, or just you get to the stage where you get fed up smoking.
It's not easy to stop smoking.
No, absolutely is not. It's comparable. The addiction to nicotine is comparable to the addiction to heroin and cocaine.
So there's a lot of people that want to give up smoking, but they can't even get their head around the distress it will cause them, the difficulty. It's a decision that, yes, of course, long term or even short term, they know they're damaging their health, but the mere notion of even starting to think about stopping smoking stresses them out, maybe even makes them even more inclined to smoke, and they say, right, I'll do it down the line. Do you reach out to those people, or does someone have to have made that decision before they can successfully stop smoking?
No, I suppose both actually, because obviously we get referrals in from the medical professionals. So somebody might have a medical condition that's encouraging them to stop smoking. But no, we totally understand that anxiety, absolutely. Because it's much easier to change what you think than what you do. So actually stopping smoking, we realise is a very difficult thing to do. The first thing I would say is actually to get in touch with myself or Marassa, to have a conversation, to find out what it is that we offer. Because the whole idea of our service is to boost the confidence of that person who's actually thinking about stopping smoking, and working out a plan and doing a good bit of preparation prior to actually even setting a quit date.
Is there a big difference between knowing you should stop smoking and wanting to stop smoking?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I suppose my experience, I've been in this role since 2004, and certainly the clients that we would see who want to stop smoking will often have an easier time than the people who feel they have to do it. Having said that, a good part of the work that myself and my colleague Marassa would do is working with the client, and often they will say, I don't want to stop smoking, but when you actually get talking to them, and you do a sort of a decisional balance, weighing up the pros and cons, you'll often find that there's actually an awful lot of negative things about tobacco that they don't like. And often there's very few positives.
Mm-hmm. All right. So tell us that what people should be doing to prepare to stop smoking.
Okay, so I've actually recently done an article for the paper as well in the top 10 tips. So I suppose number one is to prepare well. And that is very much about, like that, what you said, working out what are your reasons for actually doing this in the first place. Maybe even get a sheet of paper, put a line down the middle and write the pros and cons. So what do I like about smoking versus what I don't like about smoking? And that'll give you a good indication as to where your head is at.
Yeah, the problem is that in the pro column, really, the desire to smoke is to alleviate the desire to smoke for however long you last between cigarettes. Other than that, there aren't a great deal of pros.
Well, certainly when clients come to our service, we often find that there is very few pros. But some people will say that they actually enjoy the hit. Some people might say that they enjoy the taste. So there is things that some people will still find that they actually like about them. But you're absolutely correct. The majority of people who smoke are actually doing it to relieve the cravings that they're going to get in the withdrawals between hits of nicotine. And nicotine sort of stays in your body for roughly about 90 minutes. So that's why most people will smoke somewhere between 10 and 20 cigarettes per day.
Okay.
To relieve that withdrawal experience.
Before we talk on about the next stage, how much of it is willpower and how much of it is chemical support, if you know what I mean? And we can talk about that. Like, what is the balance there? It varies from person to person, I imagine. But, how much willpower is needed to stop smoking?
So if you speak to any of my clients, they'll often say that I would say you actually don't need willpower to stop smoking. What you actually need is the desire to do it. And then the willpower will come with each and every day where you're not smoking. And I suppose our role is very much about getting you to that stage where you actually are using treatments, and more than likely you may well be using treatments even while you're still smoking, to get you ready to set that quit day. And then whenever you do quit, very much it's that I'm going to try and not smoke for one day to see how it goes. And if it goes well, fantastic. But if it doesn't, then we'll work out, okay, so what wrong? What changed? Was there something that we couldn't have foreseen, or did we think we had prepared well for something that in hindsight we perhaps could have done a bit more preparation? So it's very much, but just to answer your question, the foundation in whether anybody stops smoking or not is their desire to want to do it.
Is it easier if you buddy up with someone, be a partner or someone?
Absolutely, yeah. So the evidence is very clear on that. You're at least 50% more likely to be successful if you, like a work colleague or a friend. And then if it's yourself and your partner, in fact, so say if it's your partner at home, then you're about a 66% increased chance of doing it. But the key there, though, is that both people have to be at the stage where they want to do it. Yeah. And that there isn't one of the people
it's
dragging
stressful enough without having to tow someone along that journey with you.
Absolutely. Even if it is a case whereby the other person isn't ready, they can still support the person who is ready by perhaps smoking outside and not leaving their cigarettes around them. And not asking them to come out for a cigarette, things like that.
Yeah. If you smoke 20 a day, right, can you be giving them up in inverted commas by having the odd one? Maybe one in the morning, one at lunchtime, 2 in the evening?
You might use that as part of your strategy to quit, as in cutting down prior to quitting. But the evidence is very clear. Up to 95% of people who have a slip, in other words, who have a drag of a cigarette after quitting, will go back smoking again. It might take them a couple of weeks, a couple of months, but there's a strong likelihood that they're actually going to go back smoking regularly again. Right,
so in terms of the supports offered, they're freely available, I believe. The Quit team Absolutely. Are there, you are amongst them. And you've got really quite a high success rate, haven't you?
We have, yes. So in Donegal, and we've been well established over the years, our success rate at 1 year is about 35% of the clients, 35 to 40% of the clients who come on the programme and set a quit date are actually still quit at 12 months.
Right, so how do you help people?
So I suppose it's that whole piece. The three aspects that we work with are the emotional aspect, the behavioural aspect, so the habits, and also the addiction. So absolutely, we will discuss the different treatments that are available, and combination nicotine replacement would be the most successful treatment on the market at the moment. So we would very much encourage people to use treatment first of all, but also to use enough of it and to use it for long enough, which is on the average, it's for 3 months.
Right, so patches, mist inhaler, lozenges, a lot of people have sort of gone solo using vaping. Vaping in and of itself, though, is something that you know it is an addiction because it replace. What are your views on? And I think the general consensus is at this point, and we don't have long-term data in inverted commas, which we can cherry pick when we seek that information. Sometimes we don't know what the long-term impacts of vaping is. Are you a fan of replacing one dependency with another?
Generally speaking, no. I suppose just in relation to the evidence, the Health Research Board in Ireland in 2019 actually did some research on electronic cigarettes, and they found them to be a similar success rate as one single nicotine replacement therapy. But I suppose the difficulty with the e-cigarettes are, like any nicotine replacement therapy or Champax or Zyban, which can be used to help people stop smoking, they've been vigorously tested. They've gone through clinical trials, so we know they're very safe and effective at what they do. That long-term data piece is a bit concerning regarding the electronic cigarettes. But apart from that, the actual I suppose because what we work with clients is the whole habit and the emotional attachment that you have to smoking.
Yeah. Because with vaping, you might have it with coffee, you maintain that hand-to-mouth routine.
Exactly.
Okay.
So often what happens with the clients that we would deal with is they often find that they're switching rather than quitting. So they switch from a regular tobacco to an electronic cigarette. Whereas like one of the things that we would encourage clients to do, say if they're using the mist or the inhaler, is to use your opposite hand that you would normally use to smoke. So again, you're trying to break that hand-to-mouth action.
Okay.
That becomes automatic.
So in terms of once you start through the supports that you offer, if people want to go down that route, I think people might want to know is if I stop tomorrow, how quickly will it become easier?
Okay, so that really depends on the individual, and it also depends on the treatment that they're using and the support that they're getting. So the gold standard would be that you want to stop smoking, that you, for example, are on our program and that you're getting that behavioral support and you've already looked at your triggers, you've looked at the habits, you've probably made your house or your car smoke free even prior to quitting, and then you actually using the treatments correctly. So when you're doing that, you're much less likely to go into the withdrawals, or you're able to manage the withdrawals much easier. So most withdrawals will, for the majority of people, will actually have subsided quite dramatically by 4 weeks. But we would actually keep clients on the treatments for 3 months because lots of different things are happening during that first 3 months. So you want to get as many firsts over you as possible.
If you can, is it important to try and sort of maybe make some lifestyle changes so the impact of stopping smoking feels even greater? And also to, I imagine, you have to make sure, we talked about replacing smoking with vaping, but you don't want to replace smoking with bickies either.
Absolutely not, no. So one of the 10 tips that we would actually be looking at as well is exercise. So if you're not into exercise at the moment, then maybe looking about finding a type of exercise that you enjoy. So whether it's walking or swimming or whatever it happens to be, but to become a little bit more active and perhaps use that exercise as your replacement for the smoking as well. And again, if you are concerned about weight, which often people are when they're quitting tobacco, if you replace the cigarette for the bicky, as you say, absolutely, you're much more likely to burn the calories. And again, that's where the treatments come in. So if you're using treatments correctly and effectively, you're less likely to feel hungry and you're more likely to replace that hand-to-mouth action with a treatment rather than the calorific food, the high-calorie snacks.
What do you do with the money? I mean, obviously, you know, sometimes the money you save, it's quite significant, but it just goes into the black hole of debt. You know what I mean? You don't, if you can, do you keep the, you know, keep the daily money, put it in a jar or something and look forward to a treat for yourself if you can? But even sometimes the more indebted you are, the less impact saving 15 quid a day can make in a strange sort of a way.
Yeah. So just on those 2 points, the first one is one of the things that we also, when we're seeing clients, we actually have a saving tin that they can't get at, but that they're given. And again, like that, some people are very disciplined whereby they can afford to put in the money that they would have spent on tobacco. And others like that may have debt issues. But even to not be in as much debt is often a positive thing that people will experience when they're stopping smoking.
If people want to get more details, and there's more tips and tricks there, but also, really importantly, there's a group of people there to work with you through this journey, i.e. the Stop Smoking team, the Quit team. How do they get in contact?
Yes, so myself, my mobile number is 087 2514 790, and feel free to call it or text it at any time. And then my colleague Marasa is 086 049 2465. And it's a free confidential service, and we will work with you as to where you're at. There's no pressure. It'll be up to the client to set the quit date, but we will work with them to help support the confidence in actually setting that quit day.
All right, Fiona.
And also, Greg, just to let you know as well, there's a new initiative happening, the Healthy Communities Initiative, which actually, as well as having stop smoking support, it also allows a few of the geographical areas in Donegal access to free stop smoking medications as well. If you don't have the medical card.
More information on that.
And also in most of the Guilt Act.
Yeah, more information on that by contacting you, I'm sure. Thanks for your time this morning. That's Fiona Boyle, Stop Smoking Specialist with the CHO1 Tobacco Lead there. We have her numbers here if you want to contact her and make that change today. It'd be lovely if it felt like we had helped people to maybe change their lives for the better.
The 9 Till Noon Show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, home of the new Pro A City. Your perfect business partner.
Inish Fitness Dunlow are offering half-price programs on Saturdays this month. That's a 1-hour consultation and a 4-week plan for just €10 this month at Inish Fitness Dunlow.
Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure Main Street, Letterkenny. The big winter sale is now on with great reductions throughout the store. Selected kids clothing reduced to clear. Also Adidas tracksuits for all ages on bmcsports.ie. Men's and women's sports clothing with discounts of up to 40% off. Check out the Brian McCormick's winter sale in store or click on bmcsports.ie.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
With everything from pedal and electric ride-ons to go-karts and scooters, there's loads of fun guaranteed all year round at Tinny's Toys. If you've a kid's birthday coming up, Tinny's Toys can help make it special or get snow ready with a sleigh. Visit Tinny's Toys on Leck Road, Letterkenny or shop online for express delivery at tinnystoys.com. Tinny's Toys, with so much more than just farm toys.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
Okay, coming up in the next hour, amongst other things, we're going to be answering your relationship and emotional questions and also your employment questions. Get them into us right now. But at 11:01, it's time for a news update and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. A Donegal TD says he will be pressing in the Dáil next week for the Irish government to take action on seeking answers as to what happened. The investigation into the killing of Eddie Fullerton, the Donegal councillor who was shot dead in his Buncrana home in May 1991. Mr. Fullerton's family is this morning being briefed on the findings of a Police Ombudsman of Northern Ireland report, Operation Greenwich, which looks at claims of collusion in a number of murders that took place in the Northwest. Councillor Fullerton's murder among those being examined. Deputy Patrick McLaughlin says there are many questions that the Irish government must answer. He'll be raising them in the Dáil next week based on the findings of this report. There have been over 3,000 cases of COVID-19 in the Northwest this week, most of them in Donegal. On today's 9 till noon show, the HSE's Northwest Director of Public Health said given the difficulty in getting accurate figures at the moment, the real figure is probably higher. Dr. Anthony Breslin urged people to continue to adhere to public health guidelines. He told Greg that while there are indications we may have seen the worst of Omicron, there could be more variants around the corner. Parents are expressing frustration, meanwhile, that new close contacts rules will still force asymptomatic teenagers to restrict their movements even if they're doubly vaccinated. Only those who've had a booster and are asymptomatic can avoid self-isolation under the changes which take place from midnight tonight. There were 36 people awaiting beds at Letterkenny University Hospital this morning, 4 of them on emergency department trolleys. The figures are contained in the INMO's latest Trolley Watch report. The figure for Sligo is 29, with 11 in the ED. The combined Northwest total of 65 represents just over 16% of the national total. The UK's new Brexit chief is meeting her EU counterpart for the first time face-to-face later today. Liz Truss will host Maros Sefcovic for a dinner this evening in Kent, ahead of further talks over the Northern Ireland Protocol. Ms Truss has said she's willing to trigger Article 16 of the Protocol if the EU doesn't agree to changes. And Gardaí say no stone will be left unturned in bringing Aisling Murphy's killer to justice. The 23-year-old teacher was attacked while jogging along the canal in Tullamore, County Offaly at around 4 yesterday afternoon. A murder investigation is underway and a 40-year-old man is being questioned at present. And we're back with news headlines again at 12 noon.
OK, Donald, thank you very much for that. We'll be back with more after this break.
Getting fit just got easier with Inish Fitness Dunlow. Subscription payments are now available to help spread the cost of your membership. Call in to Inish Fitness Dunlow for more details.
At Centra, jumpstart your new year in our better than half price sale with great offers like Bird's Eye 10 potato waffles, better than half price now €1.48. Nestle Cheerios 700 gram, better than half price now €2.50. And Centra Fresh Hour strip loin steak 360 gram, only €7. Centra, live every day.
You deserve better. Better services, better rewards and better savings. All with Bord Gosh Energy. Get 40% off your electricity and start saving today. Because when you're spending less on your energy, you can spend more on what matters most. Switch to a better way at boardgoshenergy.ie. EAB €962. 12-month discount with direct debit and paperless billing. Unit rate and standing charge apply. See boardgoshenergy.ie for EAB prices and full T's and C's.
Central Auto Parts are now stocking Sunny, a water-based paint offering all up-to-date colours for all vehicles, and Celimix Commercial, the perfect paint for diggers, plant and machinery. Buy it today at Central Auto Parts, Portslink Business Park, Letterkenny. Find us on Facebook or call us on 074 9127 491.
Looking for an easier way to get your prescriptions filled? Look no further. With our new Brennan's Pharmacy app, you have a simpler, faster way to manage your prescription orders. Just download the free Brennan's Pharmacy app from Google Play or App Store, fill in a few simple details about yourself and your medicines, and you're all set. From prescription ordering, daily medicine reminders, to messaging our pharmacy team directly, it's all at your fingertips with our new Brennan's app. Like to know more? Why not call your local Brennan's Pharmacy today for more information? We're here for you.
The Restex Beds and Furniture Winter Sale is now in full swing at our Letterkenny store, supplying only the finest quality, luxurious Irish-made beds and mattresses with genuine savings throughout our range. We look forward to seeing you at the Restex Beds and Furniture Winter Sale.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. Delighted to welcome back onto it Keely Taverner, a psychotherapist, author and coach, taking your relationship and emotional questions right now. Good morning to you. Lovely to see you again, Keely. How are you keeping?
All good, no dramas, can't complain.
That's fantastic, isn't it? I was chatting to someone recently who was at the very start of a relationship, and they were concerned that the person was made a few references about their appearance, their weight and stuff. But still, they intend to continue in that relationship, and that's completely up to them. Would that be a red flag to you? Maybe they might hope to sort of, change them in some way or other. Or if someone started making sort of kind of personal comments, very subtle even, would you be concerned about that?
I'm a massive fan of clarity, and one of the things I do is want to have a conversation about that. What did you mean by that? It's just one way to bring that to the forefront. This is especially important if that person tends to avoid conflict. So if your natural position is to avoid conflict, smooth things over, then actually this situation, especially if you've had a history of problematic relationships where you're a yes person, you end up kind of in a one-way relationship dynamic, then it can be a really important point to highlight that for your own well-being, especially if you're trying to break unhelpful cycles where you constantly, where someone nitpicks at you and you don't defend or stand up for yourself. It can be quite vital.
And how do you strike that balance? I think the majority of us are non-confrontational. We maybe peacemakers. We accept stuff and we put it down to something or other, make excuses, whatever it might be. But then again, you don't want to get to the stage where you're ultra cynical of everyone and challenge people on absolutely everything. How do we change ourselves as individuals? And it's not just in relationships. I think because this could be in the workplace, Keely. It could be in negotiating the purchase of a vehicle. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
How do we sort of, change ourselves that we can speak up a little bit for ourselves?
Absolutely. I think one of the things is it's not that you're being over hypersensitive, because that's one of the things that people throw at you if you do challenge them. But it's about things that unsettle you. So if someone is making a comment about your appearance or your weight and it unsettles you, and potentially you've had an issue with avoiding those sort of things in the past, and people, you may have well been bullied in the past, or it can be an opportunity for you to begin to challenge that. One of the ways I find challenging it doesn't necessarily mean it has to go into high conflict. You can literally ask someone, what did you mean by that?
It's a simple question, isn't it? And it puts the onus on them rather than you feeling that you have to sort of analyse the whole situation.
Absolutely. You're asking them for clarity. And often what is likely to happen is if people then think and then they realise there is then sometimes they may start to say, oh, what are you being like that for? They can try and discombobulate you by suggesting it's some sort of issue of your own. Now, if you take that bait, fair enough. But as we get older, we get a little bit wiser. And that can be really important information to pay attention to because what we avoid in the here and now has a habit of coming back with a vengeance in the future.
Yeah, almost invariably, yeah. My best friend recently met a man on a dating app, which he's head over heels about, but I recently saw him still on a dating app, so I matched with him. Sorry, I could see this scenario where the two friends are chatting to the same fella, but anyway, I'll start again. My best friend recently met a man on a dating app, which he's head over heels about, but I recently saw him still on the dating app, so I matched with him to see what he would do, and sure enough, he started a conversation. I've kept the conversation casual, so they're still talking. I don't want to break her heart, but I'm wondering if I should straight out tell him why I matched him, and that if he's not interested in my friend, to then go and let her down gently.
So what's the question here?
The question is that there's someone's dating a guy, her friend saw him on a dating app and matched him. They're still chatting away, albeit casually, and the friend wants to know what to do. Her best friend is going out with a guy that's still engaging with the opposite sex, or the same sex, but in this case, the opposite sex, on a dating app.
Well, my loyalty will always be to my friend. I'd have to have a word. It's
a no-brainer. You go straight to her and say, but I just wonder then, if I were the best friend going out with this guy, I would say to her, well, did you match? And you start chatting.
Yeah.
That would be, that's a bit...
Simple as.
But, all right, okay.
My loyalty is to you. And this is a type of thing that is often happening is people are meeting online. The other person may not be offline. They're still keeping their options open, which is fine if they're going to be truthful about it. The pain comes from thinking you're the exclusive. And when you're not exclusive, these sort of situations arise. The friend, in my mind, your loyalty is to your friend. I'd have a word.
There's a lot of people sitting in situationships, right? And, one partner's really happy with that. The other, it's got a name now, so maybe that's it. It's not a relationship. It's not a friendship. It's a situationship. And they find themselves stuck in it.
Well, they choose. Right. I'm a fan of choice, you see.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it?
People don't always like that they have choices, but often we choose, but we're not conscious of it. Unless you're in a coercive control relationship, which is a whole nother different kettle of fish.
But just because something's given a label, it doesn't mean it's a thing. There's no such thing as a situationship because there's always going to be emotions in there, isn't there? It's like friends with benefits. That can't last long term, surely.
Absolutely not. But the challenge is that there's new terms to try to describe relationships. Is a bit like, I think that kind of really got sort of started through Facebook. And it was like, in a relationship or something like rather not say. So it's kind of evolved out of people publicly declaring where they're at. A situationship clearly means that there isn't committal. It's a situation, sounds like, if there's a situation on the M5, usually something's gone wrong. There's an incident, an accident.
But our emotions aren't that flexible. We can't. We haven't evolved whereby our emotions are that elastic. They simply aren't.
Absolutely not. So you can find all manner of terms to define it, but the reality is something is awry in the relationship that maybe it works for you on one dimension. But often people pretend, or they think that maybe having a physical relationship, a sexual relationship is sufficient, but it pinches them on the arse. It often comes back to them. So that's a real challenge for people, whatever you want to call it, whether it's a hookup situation, situationship, friends with benefits. Something's awry, and often that can come and pinch people on the bottom.
Yeah, and often people might say, it suits me, when it doesn't, but they don't want to lose what they have and they don't think they're going to get what they want. I'm having a serious relationship issue with my mother. Herself and my dad split up many years ago, and almost every day since that, I've been reminded that we played a part in their marriage breaking up, and because of me and my sister, she was unable to meet anyone else. I'm sick of her. Christmas was the final nail. My boyfriend is annoyed and says I can't cut her off. Your mother is not supposed to make you feel this way. I guess not every woman is capable of being a parent. As much as I despise her at times, I also fear a total cut-off. Any advice?
This kind of reminds me of some of the work I do with individuals when we work with narcissistic mothers, and how difficult it is for people to get to the point where they totally go non-contact and cut off parents. The reality is people do cut off their parents, especially if they're particularly toxic. The challenge you have is most people won't understand it, and most people will judge you for it and think that something's wrong. You're the person who knows exactly what you're contending with your mother. And if, for example, it means that you need to create space or you need to be mute in terms of your communication with her for a while, then that actually may well be to your benefit. The challenge you have is generally people don't give you the thumbs up for that. If your mother is blaming, that generally means she's taking zero responsibility for herself in the situation, and therefore she becomes a victim. Therefore, trying to burden you with guilt, often about, it's probably fair to assume you didn't ask to be created. You didn't ask for them to bring you into the world. So clearly that is deflecting, blaming others, which will create guilt with regards to yourself. So in actual fact, some of the steps that you're talking about are particularly helpful because it's about protecting your well-being. The challenge generally people face when they distance themselves from parents is they get judged for it. And people assume that you should try and do something. They don't actually get how difficult it can be. And it's not an easy decision to come to. And so what I'd encourage you to, it's a gradual process as well. It doesn't mean you just flip to no contact. It may mean you have short bursts with that person. Sometimes difficult parents can be better in crowds. You start to work out what works for you, but just understand that people won't always get it.
All right. Well, when you talk about, relationships with, just people you meet, if they're toxic or controlling or coercive, you get out, you protect yourself. You know what I mean? You make that tough decision. Do the same rules apply with family? Because, okay, yes, there is that genetic and blood connection, right? But if it's such an unhealthy relationship, there's no obligation to maintain a relationship with family. Sometimes is it best just to cut it, or does that have a ripple effect?
Well, I work with a lot of Asian clients as well, and they come from collective communities where it is all about family. And so, whether you're from, a collective community or traditional Western, it's very difficult for people to cut family off.
It's a really good point you make there. It's different.
And that is never easy for people. There's power, there's dynamics, there's money, there's finances. Let's be honest, there's also wills, estates,
very good points,
inheritances. There's a lot that absolutely goes on. And so it's a very tentative, sensitive process, especially if you have toxic family members. And sometimes it's about helping people to strategize, develop strategies to stay, and to help cope. And that's why I'm a fan of coping mechanisms, if we know what the root cause is. You don't just give people coping mechanisms without understanding what the deeper stuff is, but it enables people to become much more clearer about how to navigate a difficult terrain. And cutting off family members, is not easy for people.
Yeah, okay.
Really not easy.
Someone else has picked up on our first question. It's about the woman head over heels with a fella. Her friend saw him on social media. They connected, and she's chatting away to them. She has a casual relationship with this person, but still communicating with them. And she's just gone down a road there. And this caller says the friend with the new partner might feel it's the friend going behind her back by choosing this man to communicate with online. It's gonna be a difficult one to unravel. A caller says, the lack of intimacy has left me distant and discontent. I don't want to lose my partner, but I need more. This sounds very much like a conversation those two people need to be having with each other, as well, as difficult as it is. And maybe what you have to say might be that push, Keely.
Absolutely. Well, intimacy is a real fundamental part of relationships, intimacy and sex. And so if that is not in the relationship, that it matters. It's really important to highlight that matters and to get curious about what that is about. Now, that might be a difficult conversation to have. However, it's worthy of having it, because if not, it will show up elsewhere in the relationship. We also know generally people can remove intimacy from the relationship and sex as a form of punishment or sanction, depending on how your dynamics are. So it may, how can you have a conversation about that? I encourage you to try to have the conversation about that and see what occurs. Now, if you're particularly needy, that's also something to address. Or neediness, because sometimes that can burn people out. Because
in terms of intimacy, obviously isn't always about what's in the bedroom or wherever else takes you fancy. Of course, it can be, a meaningful kiss, it can be a hug, it can be a stroke or a touch. Sometimes partners might give back what's projected onto them as well. Do you know what I mean? Is it possible that maybe the other partner feels a bit awkward doing that because the one that's texted into us, maybe they're not offering those sort of intimate gestures as well, and it becomes an awkward space.
Absolutely, especially, you know what life is like. It gets ordinary if we're not grooming, if we've let the forest grow.
I shaved for you today, so say nothing, all right?
Have we got any evidence for that?
Well, it's not on me neck. All right, okay, listen, calm down, Keely. We'll keep it above the neck.
Above the navel. Well, like I said, right, these things, we can all get tired and things can become a bit stale. So it can be time for, let's call it a review of where we're at, what we also want for ourselves, but what is also happening with the intimacy, but also those touch points, if someone's cooking breakfast, what is also happening around those areas outside of the bedroom. Has that diminished? What might be going on in the relationship?
All right. A comment here. I had a narcissistic mother. I was in my 50s when I cut her out of my life, and I can tell you I was judged. It took a lot of therapy to get me to the other side. She passed away since, but it's in my mind every day. It's a very, very hard road. That is the exactly what you were talking about, and how it's different. Absolutely. Maybe from a relationship with someone that you meet in your life. Lastly, I'm trying to find love in 2022. How can I do that? Can you seek out love, or does it have to just arrive at the right time?
Well, it depends. Some people can be much more proactive and deliberately go on a campaign to find that person. I'm much more, I find for myself personally, I'm not good when I force things. Things don't really happen in a way that is helpful to me. I'm much more interested in pursuing things that I like, interests, and then meeting like-minded people along that journey. I find that a much more richer way to meet people. I particularly don't do well online, swiping to the left. Judging someone on the visual dynamic doesn't necessarily work for me. I don't tend to read the text. I tend to look and discriminate. But actually, I've given many an ugly man a chance just by meeting him and meeting his personality. You know what I'm saying?
I was obviously people would be familiar with the word catfishing. But I heard the phrase yesterday for the first time, mask fishing. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
What's that one?
It's people, you get to know someone with wearing a mask, and then...
Oh, wow.
I know. I don't think it's really a thing, but it's what the young ones are talking about, mask fishing.
Well, there you go, right? It's with the filters, and my daughter put a filter on the phone the other day, and I'm like, I want to look like that person in the phone, because that clearly is not... It's not me. It's just one of the benefits. Try different strategies. You could try doing the whole online thing, which comes with its challenges, let's be honest. But also, are there any interests or pursuits to help you get out of your comfort zone?
Because instantly with that as well, you're going to be meeting people with shared interests, or at least in the same space as wanting to... if you like to travel, right, there's no point swiping on someone, having 7 or 8 dates, really liking them, and find out that they don't really like to go anywhere. But
There
if
you go.
yeah, okay, all right, makes sense. All right, Keely,
Absolutely.
listen, if people want to engage with you on a more personal level, you are a psychotherapist, author and coach, and your website address is what, Keely?
keyforchange.com, that's number 4, or you can write FOR, Keely at keyforchange.
Because you covered all bases.
Come on.
All right, listen, thank you. As always, have a great one. That's Keely Taverner there. Right, we'll be back with more on this edition of the 9 till noon show, including answering your questions as it relates to employment law and also particularly in the context of what these new changes to close contacts might mean for you in the workplace. But we'll open it up to general employment questions. Get in touch with us right now because we've got and he's famous now, Richard Grogan, TikTok famous and beyond. He's going to be joining us after the break.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Home of the new Pro A City, your perfect business partner.
Well, Davey, brilliant that you weren't in work today. We had some crack. It was Peter's last shift, so we all went out for lunch. Thanks for staying away. The lads are delighted. Chat to you soon. Mind yourself.
No one will thank you for turning up to work or anything else when you're sick. Stay at home and get a test to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. From the HSE, for us all.
Inish Fitness Dunlow is offering a free fitness plan tailored to you with every 6 or 12-month membership purchased in January. Call in to Inish Fitness Dunlow to find out more.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Ireland's best-selling car of 2021 is the Hyundai Tucson. And now the all-electric Ioniq 5 has proven itself with a host of awards. Ioniq 5 was named German Car of the Year, Auto Express Car of the Year, and European Car of the Year finalist.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 91 22 600.
Time to drive out the old and drive in the new. At B&S Credit Union Ballybuffet, our special car loan rate is now available. With an easy application process, this flexible, affordable car loan is for you. Visit bnscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390. Loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
This week's Irish Farmers Journal could save you thousands in cash. For more, here's Paul Mooney.
Don't miss our 50 tax-saving tips for farmers inside this week's issue, including how much can family members earn on your farm tax-free, what reliefs are available when transferring farms, and how to make the most of tax exemptions. Plus, we have money-saving advice for household bills, banking, insurance, pensions and more to make the most of your income.
Don't miss our money-saving tips inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
Highland Radio Time Checks, brought to you by Letterkenny Shopping Centre, the centre of shopping in Donegal. Free parking and shopping all under one roof. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
Okay, the time's 27 minutes past 11. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Now, time to return to a previous guest, Deputy Bernard Durkin. Good morning to you, Deputy. Thanks very much for joining us.
Morning, Greg, and to your listeners.
Right, now the 7-month rollover of the €90 million lotto jackpot will end this Saturday with one or more winners. The National Lottery has confirmed if the prize isn't won outright, the full value of the jackpot prize will flow down to the next tier, and the lottery has also confirmed in future the top prize will be won no more than 5 draws after the cap is reached. Right, now, statistically, it seems almost impossible that it's rolled over this far. I presume you welcome this change, but does it answer the questions you initially posed, I wonder?
Well, I do welcome it. I think it's a move in the right direction, but as you say yourself, we have to see how it works. And the devil is often in the detail. So it's definitely recognising the public concern and frustration at continuous rollover that happened in early June and nobody won the lotto, the main prize, since then. That's what's causing frustration and annoyance amongst the general public, who would like to have their weekly flutter or whatever they wish to do with it. But the fact that there was advertised a potential jackpot that nobody won for 6 months, despite 55 or 6 draws, that wasn't acceptable. And I think that the Irish lotteries have recognised that and have set about changing it.
But also, too, what they did, though, Bernard, is following the likes of remarks from yourself and others and comments on this show and comments on other radio shows, they spent an absolute fortune plugging the fact, an absolute fortune that wasn't being won by players, plugging the fact that some people were winning money. That, to me, I was looking at that going, seriously? You're actually spending money that could be going into prizes, trying to defend the fact that your 19 million euro is still rolling over. It was like, wow, this is really the world we live in right now.
Well, you see, the first argument, the first response to that was, this is a game of chance. In actual fact, it was a game of no chance for a lot of people who bought lottery tickets. There was no chance of winning, and there should be some even remote chance. And if it was 10 million, 10.7 million to 1, fine, that's very, very long odds. But if a lot of people are participating, it should mean that the odds come down. Somebody should win it sometime, somehow, somewhere. And that wasn't happening either. So whatever happened after the 6th of June last, it's being addressed at this stage. But I think a lot more needs to be done to monitor its progress. And in obviously having had discussions as we had in the committee, and the lottery has also done likewise, the regulator has become involved and is monitoring the situation. But one way or the other, if we sell or advertise on the basis of a potential prize of 19 million, for example, and it doesn't happen, well, presumably the public will then participate on the basis that sometime somebody has to win it. And of course, that is not necessarily true. And this is where we were told about the game of chance and the Monte Carlo episode and the Las Vegas episodes and so on. But of course, the fact that they happened doesn't mean that they were right. It doesn't mean that it was fair to the person who was speculating. And the lottery has a high profile throughout the country because the funds raised through the National Lottery have been instrumental in providing funding for very, very many good causes, and that needs to continue.
Of course, but I mean, it's always better if things are transparent. In other words, how much money is gambled, how much money is donated to charity, how much money goes to, pension funds, how much money is spent on advertising, what are the odds of winning what prizes in reality. Full and open transparency is what's needed, I think, particularly because the amount of money that's going into it. I mean, yesterday, 2 people won a total of €500,000. How much was actually gambled ahead of that draw? I think that is important public interest information.
You've hit the nail on the head. In actual fact, the public have a right to know that as well. And that is the subject of my parliamentary questions, written questions for next week, this week coming. So we will know, and we hope that we will get that information because it is vital information. We need to know how much the public are spending, how much they're speculating, how much is gone in prizes, and where the rest of it has gone, and so on. But the point about it is that, and you're absolutely correct, it has to be seen to be open and transparent. Not just good enough to say, oh, this is fine, it's supervised, it's open and transparent. Let's see how we can come to that judgment ourselves.
And also, too, I think it's worth looking at push notifications, because when the lottery was established, I'm sure it wasn't established in a way that someone can just be sitting, listening to the radio or watching Coronation Street or whatever, and then get messages pushed to them from the National Lottery app inviting them to go and gamble. That, I mean, okay, that might be grand for your Paddy Powers or Sky Bet or whatever it might be, but really, with the National Lottery, do you think that's appropriate, or is it appropriate, or does it need looking at? These push notifications, they see how long it is since you engaged.
Yeah.
There's algorithms there, and they go, hold on, Greg hasn't logged on in a while. Let's offer him the chance to win €50,000 by spending and scratching 6.
Yes, I think you're right. your assessment is correct. This goes back again to the core issue. The core issue is the public's right to know how the lottery is operated and whether or not it is in accordance with the rules originally set out in legislation and anticipated insofar as the National Lottery is concerned. It also is important that if we want to continue to avail of the National Lottery, as I've mentioned already, in relation to the funding good causes, of which there are many and growing, then it is important that the public have absolute confidence in the way that a lottery is operated. And it's not a private commercial issue. This is a public lottery, and we have to do it in such a way as to ensure that the public are satisfied and happy. That when they speculate their few pounds or pennies or shillings or euros or whatever, that they do so in the clear knowledge that there is an outcome, whatever the outcome is, that where the money, they need to have some idea as to where their money goes and to what causes it goes, and whether it goes to pension funds, and you correctly identified that. That will come out in the next few weeks, I think, because there are a series of questions that will be answered.
If there's nothing to hide, it doesn't matter. Right. It's fine, because we also have to acknowledge the fact that for them to change this, they did have to get approval from government, effectively, didn't they, to do this? So they are operating within guidelines that maybe even they need to be looked at as well. Deputy Bernard Durkin, we'll wait with interest to see what answers you get to your questions, and we appreciate you joining us again, and thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Greg.
Take care of yourself. Okay, back with more shortly.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny. Explore our wide range of virtual tools at kellystoyota.com.
Inish Fitness Dunlow are inviting you to bring a friend for free to a class with the purchase of a bundle of 8 classes this month. Terms and conditions apply.
At Lidl this week, green and red peppers are only 49 cents. If you're trying to eat healthier this year, they're the perfect way to add flavour and texture to a salad. If you couldn't care less about that, they're a fabulous way to add crunch to a big juicy burger. Whatever you're into, you can't argue with Lidl prices. Lidl, more for you.
Hello, Grace. Where are you heading?
Down to Made to Measure Fireplaces in Creasla.
Made to Measure Fireplaces? Didn't you just buy a fireplace there?
Yeah, but I'm going now to pick my kitchen worktop.
Create the kitchen and living room of your dreams at Made to Measure Fireplaces and Granite Worktops. They've been in business for over 40 years. So for help choosing granite or quartz for your worktop, fireplace or stove, visit the Made to Measure showroom at Cashel, Creasla, or see mtmfireplaces.com or on Facebook.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our listeners about your vacancies both on air and online. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All job listings will be available online at highlandradio.com. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
And you're very welcome back to the programme. I'm delighted to welcome onto it now employment solicitor at Richard Grogan Associate Solicitors, Richard Grogan. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning to you.
It's great to have you on the show, and congratulations on the exposure you're getting. I know you're incredibly popular on TikTok, and of course it's down to you and your information, your presentation. But I was thinking, there's been a massive vacuum, hasn't there? Clearly that you are filling, and others to some extent, but you certainly, that people have a lot of questions, but obviously struggled in the past to find the answers. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does in a way. I mean, I think the issue on it is if you take, we say there's an awful lot of solicitors' offices that have lots of great information up on their website. The Law Society of Ireland has great information up on their website, but I suppose I've just changed it and put it short, snappy little pieces up on Instagram and TikTok, and people don't want to read 4 pages. They just want to get to the point, and so that's what I'm trying to do.
They want the ice cream. They don't want the veggies, and you give them the ice cream.
Yeah, nobody likes veggies. Yeah, everybody likes. So I've just given them snippets of information, and hopefully that helps people, employers and employees.
Yeah, but how has it been received by employers, I wonder? Are you getting any feedback from them? Because, ignorance sometimes is bliss, and you're empowering people, and maybe there are those, maybe some employers, most employers, by the way, are fantastic, by the way, but I'm saying, are you getting any pushback from that area?
Some pushback from some employers, but actually quite interesting. A number of employers are sort of sending me messages with, I didn't know about this. Thanks very much. I'm going to get this sorted. So I think that helps avoid unnecessary problems in the workplaces. And by the way, most of these are not ones that are going to have people off down in the WRC. These are sort of basic ones that really should be sorted out in the workplace. And hopefully that helps, get the problem sorted.
All right. Someone was on to us. They were a close contact over Christmas. They had upper respiratory symptoms, so they went for a PCR test. They didn't get their PCR test for 7 days, the result for 7 days, but they were off work for 7 days, and off work for no reason as such, because it turns out they did not have COVID. The employer has obviously significantly docked their wages, and they can't, this is their question, apparently because they've got no evidence of a positive test, be it antigen or PCR, they feel they can't claim for any sickness benefit. Is there any advice you can give them?
That's the problem. If you're not sick, you don't get sickness benefit. And if you don't have a message from the HSE saying that you have to self-isolate, you don't get the social welfare either. So in companies, for example, who have sick pay schemes, if you're not sick, you don't get paid. So it's an opposite to say, if you had COVID and you had a positive, then you would be under sick pay. If you come and you haven't had COVID and you go, great, yeah, but you don't get paid. So, that's just the law as it is. We didn't draft it. It was drafted in a different period, and nobody's done anything over the last 2 years about this. But that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that just is a particular grey area then. You're not at work, and you could and should be, but you can't be because you're waiting on a PCR test, which turns out negative, so you fall between the two stools.
Well, it's not grey, it's black and white. You're either ill or you're not ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's as simple as that. Yeah, unfortunately for a lot of people.
If and there's a mixture of questions too, not all COVID related, but particularly with the new changes to close contacts. Rather than me sort of, are there obvious questions I should be asking, Richard, rather than me confusing it? Because now antigen tests can be used to register for illness benefit. I'm sure maybe employers might want more evidence. I don't know. What do we need to be looking out for with these new rules, do you think, Richard?
Well, I think the big problem that's coming up is that you can go back into the workplace if you have no symptoms, if you're a close contact. But the issue on it is the employer can't ask you, are you fully vaccinated? So that's one issue. That's causing problems with other employees, by the way, because sometimes the employer doesn't know what the vaccination status is, but other employees do. And if somebody comes and says to the employer, well, I know that Joe isn't vaccinated, the employer says, well, I can't even ask him under the current legislation. He says he's here and I can do nothing about it. And if the employer says, well, right, I'm going to take the decision to send the person home for 7 days, the employer has to pay. So the employer goes, well, I'll just trust them. So that's one. The other big one is that if you have to self-isolate, not isolate, but you have to come to the workplace, you have to take regular antigen tests and you have to wear the medical mask. Now, actually, the government has not set out who pays for that. Is it the employer? Is it the employee?
But they're going to leave that as guidance, so they never have to make that decision.
Well, that's right, but the employee arrives at the front door of the factory or the shop, and they have a non-medical mask, and the employer says, "Where's your medical mask?" And they say, "Well, you have to provide it." And the employer said, "Well, actually, you shouldn't have left home without a medical mask." So I'm not very happy that you're not following the guidelines. So this is the sort of stuff that comes out, and then they say you have to have regular antigen tests. Now, they're €3 to €4 each. So, I think there's an issue there. For employers, there's a cost. And for the employees, there's a cost. But nobody's come out with the guidance as to who pays.
Plus, the person who was a close contact could present with the same negative antigen test every day, because I'm not sure if they're obliged to show it to an employer. I'm sure they're not, but they're not going to keep it, and they're not going to see the person conducting the test either. But I suppose a lot of this is down to trust and responsibility and people being expected to do the right thing, Richard.
Well, of course, it's all down to that. The difficulty that we're getting back and the pushback we're getting at the moment is from other employees in premises who are saying, we're concerned if somebody's going to be coming in here that they are taking the antigen tests, and this is the problem. The employer can't say to that person, by the way, when you're coming in, there's an antigen test over there. Would you ever take it before you go up to the room where you're with the other men and women who are working here? And the person goes, well, you can't ask me to take an antigen test. So that's a problem. So that's one of the issues that they haven't given any guidance as to how to deal with that.
Is it legal for people an employer to discriminate against employees who are not vaccinated and to not let them on the work premises?
Yeah, it's not discrimination. It could be a claim under the Payment of Wages Act, or it could be an unfair dismissal claim, but it's not discrimination unless the person can show that they can't get vaccinated, in which case it would be a discrimination case on the medical grounds. But, there are some employers, by the way, who are effectively coming in from contractors who have been told by the main contractor, if these people aren't vaccinated and if they don't do an antigen every day, they're not coming onto my site. That's a problem. In that situation, the employer says, well, look, it's nothing to do with me. I just can't get you onto the site.
Yeah, okay. If you get COVID on your holidays, and a lot of this would have been at Christmas holidays, so you're sick with COVID, isolated on your holidays, that's just your holidays, is it? Or can you declare that and then take holidays again?
Yeah, if you get sick while you're on holidays, and this goes back to actually 1997, it's in the Organisation Working Time Act. If you produce a doctor's certificate to say that you were sick, you get those days back. But it's a doctor's certificate, by the way, not a PCR. It's actually a doctor's certificate. So that's one that people have. Going down to your doctor, the doctor says, well, if it was only an antigen test, the doctor would say, well, sure, I don't know whether you were sick or not. So it is a doctor's certificate. And to be honest with you, that just hasn't kept up with the reality as well. I don't want to see a load of people having to go down to doctors' surgeries to get them back, but in reality, that's what they have to do. And by the way, GPs are under huge pressure as it is at the moment, rather than be giving out a certificate to say that somebody was sick.
16 years working with a company and no pay rise. Am I entitled to one now? I mean, is there ever an entitlement to a pay rise as such?
No. Simple answer. Get a new job. If you don't like the job, get a new job. I mean, that's the reality. No.
Okay. If you get approximately 22 days annual leave, but your company only lets you carry over 39 hours into January, and here we're going to get into this, we're already opening this can of worm of when your holidays run from. But anyway, I'm going to ask the question and let you deal with the worms if that's all right. If you get approximately 10 to 22 days annual leave, but your company only tells you can carry over 39 hours into January and have to use them by March, are they allowed to take the rest of the days off you if you wanted to carry more than 39 hours, as our company states that my extra hours will be lost and only can carry 39 after December, but they must be used by March? So they said the same thing twice there, but I think you get the message.
The annual leave year in the legislation, which is Section 2 of the Organisation Working Time Act, is the 1st of April to the 31st of March. I've been on social media screaming down, don't tell me it's anything else. So but they can certainly say you have to use it by the 31st of March because that's the end of the annual leave year. They have to make sure that you actually take 20 of the days, because they can actually send you home and say, go home, you haven't taken your holidays. But the 2 days over the legislation only refers to the 20 days, not the 22. So no, they can't stop you carrying over after 31 December, but they can after 31 March.
Right. And can a company say you need to take 7 days in quarter one, 8 days in quarter two, and whatever the remainder is in quarter three? Can a company put that? Can that be stated and enforced?
All right. There was always time when you had builders' holidays, so the first 2 weeks in in August. Employers can put in a time where you have to take a certain period of time, but they have to discuss that with you or the union, take into account your personal and family circumstances and the opportunity for rest and relaxation. But one of the provisions is they're obliged to make sure that you take 2 weeks at one stage in the year. But a lot of companies will we close for the first 2 weeks of August. And when you're signing up your contract, you know what you're getting. And that's part and parcel of, if you're working in a factory, they close. So that's allowed, yes. But it has to look at each individual case.
Is the state still paying redundancy to employees if the employer can't fund it?
Yes.
Could someone tell me, right, this last one here. I work in retail. The rotas are usually done out 3 weeks in advance. The manager always comes in at the last minute looking to do extra hours, which is too short notice. Then the manager takes spite and then you don't get asked again. I think this is so unfair. Currently in receipt of WFP, a manager only gives 16 hours knowing I lose payment and cannot get banned contract either. I've asked a number of times for this, like, I'm there a lot of years and there are people getting all the hours going, this is so unfair. So I think they're being disadvantaged because they don't change their working schedule at the last minute.
Well, you're entitled to go look for a banded hours contract, so that person can do that. In relation to notification of working time, you're supposed to get it on the Thursday before the week beforehand. So today, you should be getting the notification for next week. But if they give it 3 weeks in advance, if somebody doesn't want to take additional hours that are offered, then that's just the way it works. An employer comes in and says, by the way, there's overtime here, does anybody want it? And if you say you don't, well, that's unfortunate,
All right, very last one. Working for the same company for 14 years, carrying out government-type work, employed as a self-employed contractor, told how to do the job and supplied with tools. What are my rights?
Wow. All right. They need to see a solicitor fairly quickly, because are they really a self-employed contractor or are they not? But if they've been putting in tax returns as a self-employed contractor, there's a real issue there that you don't actually have any rights. But they need to see a solicitor. There's some great solicitors up in Donegal, so go and talk to one of those because they'll be able to sort them out.
Richard Grogan, employment solicitor, Richard Grogan Associates Solicitors. Our listeners and viewers might be disappointed if you didn't do the catchphrase, but maybe you reserve that only for social media?
I'll do it. If you really ask, I'll do it.
Go on then.
That's the law. And that's a fact.
Take care of yourself. Thank you very much. Richard Grogan there. Okay, we'll be back with more after these.
The 9 Till Noon Show, brought to you by Kelly's Toyota. With over 45 years of experience, trust us to help you on your electric journey.
Get fit this new year with Inish Fitness Dunlow. They are open 7 days a week and ready to help you with your New Year fitness goals. See inishfitness.ie for timetable, prices and membership offers.
The Restex Beds and Furniture Winter Sale is now in full swing at our Letterkenny store, supplying only the finest quality, luxurious Irish-made beds and mattresses with genuine savings throughout our range. We look forward to seeing you at the Restex Beds and Furniture Winter Sale.
Homeland fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 40 kg premium doubles or easy flame coal, $16.99. Buy 10, get 1 free. Hardwood logs, 2 bags for only €10. Flow gas £25 gas cylinder, only €25.99. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Hi, my name is Simon. Hello?
This is your call to make a real difference. Aware are here for people living with depression and bipolar disorder. Now more than ever, we need your help for our phone and online support teams. You can change someone's world from your own home. Volunteer now at aware.ie. Proudly supported by Cadbury Dairy Milk.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Cooney's Furniture at Letterkenny Retail Park January sale is now on. You'll find everything for your home has been reduced, with massive savings on suites, tables, beds and accessories. But hurry, only while stocks last. Call in today and treat your home with a visit to Cooney's Furniture.
Inish Fitness Dunlow are now offering class-only memberships. Register in person with reception to get access to the convenient Inish Fitness app for booking and paying for classes.
For a healthy start to 2022, check out the great range of food available at Kelly Centre in Letterkenny. With healthy options throughout the store, there's also the Green Kitchen Deli, offering fresh, nutritious food to go. Choose from a full menu of delicious sandwiches and salad boxes, or build your own option, all made on site and prepared fresh to order. Jumpstart your healthy lifestyle at Green Kitchen in the award-winning Kelly Centre, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Anne had been training hard for months, 7k most evenings in all weather along familiar tree-lined roads.
Only for that wind I'd be close to my fastest time ever. Just what I need, a fallen tree. Okay, climb over, keep moving.
Always ask yourself the question, are you sure it's safe? Never approach fallen wires. If in doubt, call us on 1800 372 999. ESB Networks. Stay safe and stay clear of electricity wires.
Recently engaged? Discover your dream Donegal wedding at Jackson's and Villa Rose in the heart of Ballybofey with our wedding venue showcase on Sunday, January the 23rd. Contact our wedding team to book your showcase appointment with Jackson's and Villa Rose.
In harsh winter weather, Watson Hire have all you need to stay safe and keep warm. There's great deals on coal, Calor gas, firewood and heating oil with free local delivery. Also electric, fan, halogen and oil-filled heaters. See in-store and the fuel store at watsonhire.ie. Great offers on winter clothing and boots. And for any hire items, there's still the weekend hire deal of 3 days for the price of one. All at Watson Hire, Kiltoy, Letterkenny, with free parking at the door.
All right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, the last part of the programme. And it gives me an opportunity to get to some of your calls and comments, and we appreciate them all, by the way. Hi, Greg. Just wondering if any of your listeners have not received their updated COVID pass, which includes the booster. We received the booster in early November, yet nothing as of yet. Well, they only rolled out the rollout of those documents at the start of the week or towards the end of last week, so it's going to take a few weeks. I would wait to see if you get it, and check your spam folder too. It could end up in there. Celebrity First Date's on very soon. I love the TV clipping of the doorbell ringing and the lad answering the phone. It's very entertaining. We enjoyed it last time round, and the date's very entertaining. Okay, I didn't see that, but thank you for that comment. Regarding the Liam Carr sentencing yesterday, I think the justice system should be looked into and why this case went on 6 years and put a victim on the stand for 4 trials. It's a disgrace to do that. It's all in favour of perpetrators, that caller believes. Greg, this is what happens, read the lotto, when privatisation happens. They want to make back the money they had paid for the lotto, indeed. Another, I used to always buy 2 lotto tickets a week thinking it was going to a good cause, but since it was privatised, I very rarely buy tickets, only for some birthdays. Whoever made the decision to privatise it should lose their pension. Well, I think it's around about a little over a third goes to charitable causes. A caller says there's no money evening in the scratch cards the lotto do. It's the biggest farce I've ever seen. I happen to get a lot of, for one thing or other, a lot of scratch cards. I probably got about 25 of them. Through gifts and stuff, and I scratched them all, and I don't know how much they cost, but out of a ton of cards, it was €12 in total or something like that there. But is that, I mean, is it proven and audited and checked that the amount of winning cards we expect are in the bundle? I don't know. How come it's only 7 on 3 numbers last night for weeks now? The most common scores was 3 in all the lotto draws, which suggests that there is something wrong. Is that 3 numbers get €7? Is that what you're saying? Another, the lotto jackpot should be distributed to the lower prize winners after 5 weeks of not being won, not 5 weeks after the limit has been reached. Smaller jackpots are fine by most opinions. 19 million is not something I'd like to have to deal with. I know where you're coming from, but I do know people who will only start playing the lotto when it gets to a certain level. If it's 2 or 3 million or whatever it might be, it's not worth doing it. As soon as it starts to get to 7 or 8 or 9, they're going, right, I better do the lotto. So, I mean, humans are we're kind of strange in how we think. Has that TD anything else to do deflecting from real issues? A lottery is a lottery. Betting companies are the big issue that no one wants to talk about. Well, I would argue the lotto is one of the biggest problem gambling situations there is. We asked him to come on and talk about that. Obviously, he occupies himself with other things, but we invited him on. I gave up smoking using Champix. Best decision ever. Non-smoker now for 16 years. Well done to you. Even the smell now turns my stomach. My husband was off cigarettes for over 20 years but used nicotine gum. He's now back smoking and taking the gum also. Any suggestions? That's problematic. Get in contact with Quit, though, through the HSE, and they'll get advice there. I quit 16 months ago. My wife still smokes at home, and I have my own business with the money I saved. I couldn't have done it without the help of the fantastic Quit team in Letterkenny. Congratulations to you, and best of luck with your new business. I stopped smoking 30 years ago. I had no help to stop smoking. Congratulations to you. Hypnotism worked for me and many others to stop smoking. It's interesting. I'd like to speak to someone who was hypnotised and stopped smoking, how it works, you know, what their attitude was going into it, what they can remember of what was done, and how they felt afterwards. So maybe if one of you out there wouldn't mind having a chat about how, hypnotism, it's easy for me to say, how hypnotism worked for that, or anything else as well. Really interested to hear about that. Okay, that is where we have